go.
Do you really think you have a chance against us, Mr. Cowboy?
Hey, what do you like to do?
Oh, I don't know. Play chess. Screw.
Well, let's play chess.
They give off to Jonathan Taylor. Jump cutting his way. Close to the goal line. He's in there. Touchdown. I-N-D-Y. Jonathan Taylor.
Wheeler finds Quan from the logo.
Here's Halliburton into the front court. Mishandled it, but gets a shot. Hits it. Hits it.
John, I have never been better to be on the air with you here in Indianapolis, a place where so many of my dreams have come true.
The Ride with JMV on 93.5 and 107.5. The Fan.
You know, Sunday after the game, you know, when Daniel went down and then we found out about Riley's knee, we're kind of like, hey, what are we going to do? And me and Chris were talking, and we're like, hey, let's call Philip, see what he says. Called him Sunday night. We said, hey, what do you think? He said, heck yeah, I'm interested, heck yeah. And so he slept on it. I said, sleep on it. And then Monday, called him back Monday morning. He said, I need to get up there. I need to get up there and throw, get in that building, start moving around. So he came in here, threw. He didn't forget how to throw a football. So we did that Monday, and then Tuesday, he was in the hotel thinking it over. He called us. Me and Chris were in the office. Said, what do you think? He said, dadgummit, let's freaking go.
Shoot, I'm not here to stick and save the year or be a hero by any means. We got to stick and run the crap out of the football and play defense and do all those things. So if that comes to be and I'm the one that's out there, I'm not here to try to save the day. I'm going to know where I'm limited, and as we go, it will get better. The easiest way to eliminate all the things that can go bad is to stay home. And the only way to find out can you still do it is to go try. And I really try to keep it that simple. And so I don't have any concern from the neck up, and I don't have any concern of making a throw. But again, the game's not routes on air.
I will say this, Phillip Rivers and Shane Steichen right there as we start the show on this Wednesday. Thank you all for joining us. I do have concerns because I believe that he's going to be right out there and playing on Sunday. I have legitimate concerns, but I would have legitimate concerns regardless, but these concerns are not so much, about what is going to be the outcome. At the very least, and this is not why they're doing it, because there's a belief there. He's not jacking around with this just for the heck of it. He believes he can go out and do it. I would love for this to transition into a great story, but rarely do these situations with the Colts ever, and I mean ever, transition into great stories. This would be one of the first, if not the first. But at least there's some interest there. I know everybody was thinking about Sam Ehlinger. I would have zero interest there because he's going to get his clock clean, probably just like anybody else who's going to be out there on Sunday. And then who the heck cares about Sam Ehlinger? Seriously, who cares about Sam Ehlinger? Like, everybody loves Phillip Rivers. I know it shouldn't be that way. But that's the way you need to look at it until, we change our mind, until you actually see it and, he is bum rushed and sacked 5 times, or throws a couple of picks, or can't get away. Now, he's never been the most mobile guy ever. When I said yesterday that Daniel Jones compromised, probably now both, Daniel Jones with the Achilles and with the cracked stick probably is still more mobile than Phillip Rivers. So, yeah, if you're under the impression this isn't going to end well, join the club. Because it's not going to end well, but it does give you some, like the rest of the NFL is absolutely all over this. And the outcome is going to be, once again, the Colts are going to be the laughingstock. Yeah, what else are you going to do? I can't say anything about being more prepared with a backup quarterback because I think that's a joke anyway. Whenever your franchise, in this case with the Colts, as Daniel Jones was this season, when he goes down, you're more than likely in the NFL, unless you're incredibly fortunate, and we know the Colts are not incredibly fortunate at anything, you are going to be screwed. Shout out to Jim Sorgi. I love him, but they were going to be screwed back in the era of Peyton Manning. In fact, they were screwed. That's why you ended up with Kerry Collins and Dan Orlovsky or whatever garden variety quarterback you had in that awful season. And that was to start the season. Matt Ryan was to start the season. Carson Wentz was to start the season. I think what is really funny about this entire thing is had Phillip Rivers been able to go another year or maybe I should go ahead and rephrase, had he been interested in going in another year, then maybe some things that you would have liked to have witnessed happen would have already happened. Maybe now, with others making decisions, they would have been on a better track. Because as the talking heads, and a shout out to David Byrne, who's going to be in town in early May at the Amir Old National Center. Friends, that is must-see concert material right there. But in the famous words of the talking heads, we are on a road to nowhere right here. That's where we are. Unless all of a sudden you get incredibly fortunate. And again, I would ask you, when was the last time this organization was even a little bit fortunate? I mean, not even. You can't even have 2 months of fun around here before that balloon bursts and we're back to the world of screwed. In fact, I don't know how much fun we can have around here just really in general in anything. Well, everybody walks around with that dark cloud over their head and slep rock. I make fun of Cincinnati for being that all the time, but that's really what this place is around here. But again, as I double back, at the very least, there is going to be some interest about what happens in Seattle coming up on Sunday. You may be sacrificing a 44-year-old man that he may be a future Hall of Famer. He's going to be a Hall of Famer. You reset that clock, another 5 years, you're going to be a Hall of Famer. But I don't think he knows what he's getting into right now. Does he? Do they? Anybody expect Riley Leonard to be out there or Brett Rippon to be out there? In fact, I hope that they're not. I kind of want to see how this goes. You're just kind of waiting for it. Like the ultimate game. Anybody ever play the game Mousetrap? I guess I'm saying this because that's where we're going to be coming up tomorrow on North Keystone. For Larceny Bourbon Locks and Luna's Old Tequila Shots. There has never really been a better board game in the history of board games than Mousetrap. Maybe Stay Alive. But Mousetrap was awesome. I mean, you probably know the outcome, but you want to see it all transpire, don't you? Is that fair to say regarding that board game? Classic board game it is. James, you ever played Mousetrap?
I do not believe so.
Oh, my God. You ever play Stay Alive?
No.
Whenever you had a game that had marbles in it, either Steelies or regular marbles, you had me. I don't know why. Just a marble guy. But true story, this is what this is going to be like on Sunday. Yeah, unfortunately, I think we're all going to get ultimately what we know we're going to get. But we are all very, very interested in the path in which we see it transpire. I will ask you this, because we are the most fair and balanced show out there. Now, we get knuckleheaded all the time, and I'll get knuckleheaded later on today. There's no doubt about that. That's a daily thing. It's my routine. But we are fair and balanced. Is there anybody out there that believes that this is going to work? Because if you believe this is going to work, and it does work, like if everything aligns for the first time ever, everything comes together, and it does work into a couple of wins, and they make the postseason, I want to make sure I give you full credit. But I also want to make sure when I give you full credit, I give you full credit as knowing to why you believe this is going to work. Because right now it seems much more like, and I like Phillip Rivers a great deal, but you cannot tell me this is not more of a comedy routine than it is something of serious nature. And I know that everybody's going to say, well, what is it called, an ageist? I mean, hell, I'm 55. I'm going to be 56 next week. And there is nobody out there, nobody among us more than me that wants to turn back the clock. And I try to every day. I said when I'm 60, I'm going to have all new parts. Like the $6 million man. In this case, the $29.95 man. Okay. But I want all new parts. I want to keep this going as long as I can keep this going because I dig a good time. And there's still a lot of good times to be offered and to be had out there. And right now I kind of view this as one of those. I don't view this as, well, you know what? This could springboard the Colts into, again, repositioning into the playoff picture. And really making the playoffs for the first time since Rivers was here. For the first time. I kind of view this more as Eddie Murphy Raw or Eddie Murphy Delirious. I'm just kind of waiting for the punchline right here. I want to see who has the best joke, the best punchline. I hate to feel that way, but again, until you actually see anything like this working. And part of the issue is with me is I have been very down on the offensive line, and I think rightly so. They couldn't protect a quarterback that was healthy, and then he wasn't. So what are you going to do with Phillip Rivers? And I know a lot of the Rivers protection is the quick release, but I often wondered whenever you had a quarterback that was compromised like Jones, why didn't you alter the plan a little bit? Everything was long and drawn out and running around, and escapability was necessary, mobility was necessary, and none of which was going to work. And then I would have to ask the rest of the team, is everybody on board with this? How can we not see more out of a couple of former first-round defensive players up front? How can we not see? And what I mean by more is I mean anything. With Latu Pay or Pay Latu. I mean, anything. And then you have Charvarius Ward, we learned today, goes back on IR. You kind of wonder whether or not this is going to be the end of the road for him. The third time this season. And he is a guy that clearly cares and has been struck by a great deal of family tragedy in the past. You kind of wonder with a dude like that, he's a thoughtful, interesting, insightful dude. You know, how much more do you want to push this? And then you get to thinking about, well, Chris Ballard has always been firmly against diving deeply into free agency. You know, think about this for a moment. So he's been against, and we all sit here, and I'm right there with you. I am like the parade leader. I'm like the stork in Animal House. I'm leading the parade down the dead end. I have been your parade leader and saying, got to do something different. Got to be different. This isn't working. What is funny is nothing really has worked. Because when we all say, and then you finally dive into free agency for the first time, pay big money. Look where you are with Charvarius Ward, unfortunately. Hey, you got a really good team in the first 2 months of the season. Do something dramatic at the trade deadline. Man, really make something happen. Believe in your guys right now. It's exactly what he did. And look how that's paid off with Sauce Gardner so far. Guy lasted about 5 minutes. So I'm just under the impression that nothing works. Problem the Colts have is in the world of nothing working, they are stuck. They are mired in that world right now. And really what you're going into this weekend is a microcosm of what is going to be next year too. And that is crossing your fingers and hoping. And the first things first, hoping you get entertained, but then hoping that something actually works out. Because with this particular regime, nothing has worked. A little entertainment. Hopefully you protect the 44-year-old. Maybe some other guys will wake up and play. And know this to be true. I mean, Seattle hasn't allowed a touchdown in the last 2 weeks? Yeah, you think they're going to show a little bit of mercy in this situation? Man, they're going to come heavy and hard play after play. Yeah, really no matter who it is, whether it's Phillip Rivers or if it's Riley Leonard or Brett Rippon. That is where we are. And that is where we are with that. Hey, last night, if you were watching IU, if you're a basketball player of any kind, a former, current, Lamar Wilkerson had the night that we all dream of, where everything goes in. Now, I wish that you would have or save that night for something that was better. Penn State can't beat us. And they weren't going to beat us last night either. But Lamar Wilkerson was awesome. 16 of 22, 10 of 15 from distance. Seriously, hang the wash on what I'm feeling right now. That was, from somebody that loves shooting, that was awesome. That was a display. And I know you get second thoughts out of this, and the second thoughts are you wish it was against somebody that was a lot better than Penn State's a mess. Like, you watch what Dusty is doing with Michigan, and they're running rough shot 30-plus over absolutely everybody. You wish you could save it for Dusty. My view on IU basketball so far is this, because I was front and center watching them versus Louisville. We saw them last week lose in Minnesota as well. So they snap a 2-game losing skid and get back on track. I mean, rarely do you see a team put up 100, but 113 is nice. And Lamar Wilkerson has one of the greatest all-time games, really the greatest all-time individual performance we have seen. There's something that you can put together against better teams. My issue is any team that is athletic or has bigs, IU is going to have significant issues against. And again, part of it, and I'm not downplaying what Wilkerson did and what IU did last night with 113 on the board, because that is impressive. But again, Penn State can't beat us. They stink. That was fun as hell to watch, though. 58 and 55. Thumbs up from me. Shout out to Lamar Wilkerson for the 44, breaking the mark of Trace Jackson Davis. And, man, you talk about 16 of 22 and 10 of 15. That is a dream game for anybody in this state that's ever picked up a basketball. That's pretty awesome. Boilermakers, Minnesota coming up later on tonight. We shall talk about that. Ball State, a loser last night as well. We'll talk about that. Pacers off, I think, until Friday against Philly on the road. They go Friday and Sunday. Philly on the road, and then Washington back at home. And obviously the whole Phillip Rivers thing. Charvarius Ward goes back on IR. We got that for you. Chad Brown's going to join us at the bottom of the hour. In case you missed this, I talked about this yesterday with the news that was about to break regarding Stephen Daly, and that is true. Kurt Signetti, mentioned it was some after the game situation that happened. Now, I was told it was I don't know if they've gotten specific about this, a patellar tendon situation here. But we talked about this yesterday, and he is done for the remainder of the season, and that is a significant blow to one of the, if not the highest producers on what has been an incredible defense. Now, we talked about yesterday how much, if that ended up being true, that was going to stink, and unfortunately, that ended up being true, and that's going to leave a mark. I don't know how you can get around that. Hopefully they can. We got that coming up for you as well. 239-1070 is the number. Email address is jmv@1075thefan.com. The AAA Membership Lounge via YouTube Live. I have heard stories that the weather coming up, the weather on the inbound is going to be inclement. We're going to get some snow. I think the further south you go, the accumulation is upgraded. Yeah, make sure you are a AAA member today. Did you know that you can just go ahead and download the AAA app and become a AAA member today? That's AAA.com. That easy. And what a great gift-giving idea for anybody in your family where you want the open road support especially when the weather, as we're going to witness here in the next 48 hours, gets bad. Hey, seriously, though, put that aside. Roadshow tomorrow, we're going to be at the Mousetrap. Mousetrap on Keystone. And then coming up on Friday, Bud Light Blue Friday has us at the Depot. We're going to be in Greenfield. All right, we've got a lot for you. 239-1070 is the number. 317-239-1070. Here's what we have to. If anybody out there want to sponsor the whole tech, I'm going to tell you what. You know what Andy Moore gets out of Andy Moore Automotive Group out of the hotline, right, James? I mean, hell, it's like not only do I say it, but then sometimes the guests say it. It is invaluable.
Sometimes they call you Andy.
They do. They call me Andy Moore. Somebody needs to sponsor this text line because this thing is humping it. Well done, everybody. Can you guys love the game? I can't believe you've never played Mousetrap.
I may have played it when I was young. I have no memories of it, though.
Is it kind of like, and Todd can tell me this, what is the event that they have annually at Purdue? The Rube Goldberg, where you come up with this invention that just kind of does something simple?
That's Rube Goldberg machine contest?
That is what Mousetrap is like. Well, it's awesome. We got to get you, and I have an original version at home of Stay Alive.
I've definitely never played Stay Alive.
Oh, my goodness. The commercials are awesome anyway. Shout out to you guys for knowing Mousetrap and Stay Alive. The Mousetrap tomorrow, Larceny Bourbon Locks, Luna Azul Tequila Shots, week number 15. Again, the Depot in Greenfield coming up on Friday. Chad Brown, bottom of the hour. He covers the Seahawks. The former NFL linebacker also did the Big Ten title game. We'll talk to Chad about that coming up too. Kevin Bowen, 4 o'clock hour. Boomer Esiason of CBS and the Fan in New York. He's going to have you covered regarding Daniel Jones, Phillip Rivers, and IU conversation. All that and more coming up on a busy Wednesday. The Stream, the app, HD Radio, AAA membership lounge via YouTube Live, 93.5, 107.5, The Fan.
Ding dong.
93.5 and 107.5. The Fan.
Oh, crank it up, James. Logan says this is it. This is it for this building. Tomorrow we're going to be at the Mousetrap on Keystone. Me, Brent Halverson, Large City Bourbon Locks, Luna Azul Tequila Shots. Depot, Bud Light Blue Friday on Friday. We've got Niners Colts tickets to give away for the Monday Nighter. I guess I'll be back for the first time. I'm going to be on the new studios about a mile north of our location right here on Sunday for the Colts pregame huddle.
Yeah, I guess.
Me and Bill Brooks and Casey Valier in the new studio right there.
Well, that'll be fun.
Yeah, we'll see. That is, if you guys don't know where it is, there's a coffee shop called Quills. I think Quills right there on Meridian.
So, yeah.
And then right next door, which I'm assuming is going to be one of my new hangouts, is the Living Room Lounge. That's going to be dangerous.
Have you ever been in there before?
I have not. I got a nice spot carved out.
From what I can tell on the outside, it looks like a little interesting place.
I love it. A tavern tour stop. Can you imagine doing a tavern tour stop right there?
Right there. That'd be very convenient.
I think so, too. Andy Moore, Automotive Group Hotline. Speaking of convenient, he's a former NFL defensive player extraordinaire. He was here in Indy for the Big Ten title game, so we can hit that. And, of course, covers the Seahawks as well, one of his former teams. He's on the Andy Moore Automotive Group Hotline. His name is Chad Brown. He joined us last week, and he's kind enough to do it again this week. Chad, thank you for the time. How are you?
I am fantastic, fellas. How you guys doing?
Well, I got to ask you right off, Phillip Rivers, how do you think this is going to go for the 44-year-old quarterback coming back to the NFL for the Colts and probably playing significant, if not starting on Sunday, against a team you've seen a lot of in the Seahawks this season?
Oh, I love the story of it. Is there a Disney ending at the end of this? I don't think so.
Yeah.
To come off your couch and try to play NFL quarterback after being on the couch as long as he's been, yeah, can you throw routes on air during a workout? Sure. But can you manipulate the pocket? Can you translate the speed of the game and process? It just seems like this is just bound to fail. I understand the relationship between he and Shane Steichen. I understand the thought of, hey, Riley Leonard, we'll see what he's got with the banged-up knee. And so this is probably as good of a plan B as they could come up with at this point in the season. But it's just really hard to imagine that somehow this has, a movie ending to it where Phillip Rivers and the Colts get a chance to hoist some trophy at the end of all this. It seems quite unlikely.
So what you're suggesting as a former NFL player, Chad, is this may be the greatest story ever told, that there's some positivity as an end result Sunday, right?
It would have to be one of the greatest stories ever told to end that well. Yeah, I just don't see how that's possible. I laid my career, my last year in New England. It's very similar to Phillip Rivers. I was watching a New England game at home on my couch. I had been released by the Patriots earlier that year, and a linebacker got injured. And I turned to my wife and I said, I bet you they call me 5 minutes after this game is over. And the Patriots called me, and I went back and played for the Patriots. But the difference was I was on the Patriots during training camp. I was on the team earlier that season. I was 38 years old. I wasn't 44 years old. I played the year before with the Pittsburgh Steelers. I was an actual NFL football player, not a retired player who's actually spent more time being dad than he has been preparing to play an NFL game.
Yeah, it is, especially the way, even more magnified, the way that the offensive line for the Colts protected, or lack thereof, Daniel Jones most recently. And also, you can attest to this, the way this Seattle Seahawks defense, especially magnified in the last 2 weeks, has played. This just seems like a horrific combination.
It's certainly not the ideal way you want to come off your couch and play a football game. Even if you're Riley Leonard, this is not necessarily a defense you want to face. The kind of pressure that they bring, they typically only bring 4 guys, but you don't know which 4 it's going to be. They'll have 6 or 7 or sometimes even 8 guys at the line of scrimmage. they'll drop out 4. But again, what 4 is it going to be? So if you're Phillip Rivers or Riley Leonard, who doesn't have a whole lot of experience with Phillip Rivers, we haven't done this in a long time, to go against that defense with their simulated pressure, again, for the most part, you know it's going to be 4, but you can't figure out which 4 it's going to be. To deal with that as your first game, that's got to be an incredibly uphill battle. And so, yeah, again, it's a fun story. It's certainly something great to talk about, but the chances of this ending up well are very low percentage for me.
Yeah, he is. Chad Brown, the former NFLer, covers the Seahawks. Also cover the Big Ten title game, of which we'll get to with IU winning that over Ohio State Saturday night in just a second. Both sides of the football, Seahawks playing right now. If you're going to compare them to other teams, for example, not just in the NFC, but throughout the NFL landscape, how well are the Seahawks playing presently?
The Seahawks are playing really, really well. When you have won, I think, 7 of their last 8, when you shut out an NFL team, I know it was Max Brosmer under center for the Vikings, but still, it's hard to shut out an NFL team like they did at home against the Vikings, with a chance now to completely sweep the AFC South. They're playing really, really good football. Offensively, Sam Darnold has a bit of a turnover issue, but when that doesn't crop up, they're as difficult as anybody in the league to do it because they play good special teams. They play a great brand of defense. They put pressure on your quarterback. They haven't allowed a 100-yard rusher in like 23 games. So that's amazing. And then offensively, they've got a quarterback who can dial it up. They've got a receiver who is a mismatch for every defensive back I've seen all year long. And they've got a run game. While it may not be super consistent, they can wear you down and they run the ball physically. So they got a lot of things going well for them.
Yeah, they do. And then how about this big magnified too, Chad, with the secondary, the Colts being so compromised, with Charvarius Ward on IR, Sauce Gardner being out. I mean, that makes things look even more severe, I think, going to the Pacific Northwest on Sunday afternoon.
Right. So not only are we talking about a Seahawks team that's playing well, not only are we talking about a stadium that is very difficult for any opposing team to play in. The 12s, as they call their fans out there in Seattle, are usually good for a couple of false starts on the opposing offense. And then, now you have talked about the injury situation with the Colts. We've addressed the quarterback injury situation. Now you got to talk about the defensive backs. And so who's going to take Jackson Smith and Jigba? Who's going to take JSN on the various ways they line him up and the various ways they use him, that clear connection he has with Sam Darnold? There's no obvious person in that secondary who is going to be able to handle him consistently all game long. So, yeah, it just looks like it's going to be a tough weekend for the Colts. And for the Colts fans, this season started with such promise, with Jonathan Taylor and Daniel Jones and all the great things that they were able to do. DeForest Buckner up front in the defense, and things were all going in the right direction. And now, here late in the season, things are starting to all fall apart, and it's just got to be a frustrating situation for all involved.
All right, Chad Brown joins us. Give us a little insight on what the Colts might be able to cobble together to get something done coming up on Sunday. I mean, what I guess the Seahawks could most fear in the Colts hanging around and maybe cashing in, surprisingly enough, on Sunday. What would that be?
Well, I mean, you've got pieces in place. So if Jonathan Taylor were to break the Seahawks streak and get a 100-yard game, be able to have some time of possession, be able to control the tempo of the game. And if you run the ball, well, guess what? Now you can go play action. You got a tight end and Tyler Warren who can catch the ball and be effective with some yards after catch. So if you're thinking about either Riley Leonard or Phillip Rivers, you want to hand the ball off to Jonathan Taylor, and then you want a tight end in the middle of the field who's going to make easy throws, easy completions for you. So those two pieces together right there, if they're able to get that combination going, that's a difficult day for a lot of NFL defenses, even as good as the Seahawks are playing. So there's that factor. And then we've talked about it earlier, Sam Darnold can go on a run of turnovers. he can have a 4-interception game. He can have some poor ball security in the pocket and fumble it. I saw Minnesota Vikings blitz being very effective despite the Seahawks having a lead in that game and getting some defensive scores. The offense never really got going against the Vikings. So they were able to get pressure on Sam Darnold. They sacked him more than a few times. They got the ball out. So there's certain things that can be capitalized on by this Colts team to get a victory. Again, just like the Phillip Rivers situation not being a high chance for success, these things I just listed here, all these falling into place for the Colts likely? Probably not. I wouldn't give it a high chance for success either.
All right, Chad Brown's with us. Before I'll let you go, you were there to witness it. IU, they're winning the Big Ten title game over Ohio State. Let's start with the defense because obviously you come from that side of the football. How impressed were you with what IU accomplished against Ohio State in that offense Saturday night?
So I had a chance to do IU in Illinois earlier this season, and I left that game thinking this is the best team I've seen all year. And then as the season went on, I went to Alabama and called multiple Alabama games and Oklahoma games and all of the tops of college football outside of Ohio State. And I said, this defense is legit. They're able to deal with a top team in the country from a physical standpoint, which I didn't think they were, up to task last year, but this year they were. And this offense and Fernando Mendoza can score points. And the special teams issues that plagued them in the playoffs last year, they seemingly have fixed a lot of those as well. So I gave them a great chance to win this game against Ohio State. And then that defense really held up its end of the bargain. They, outside of a couple of splash plays to Jeremiah Smith, Ohio State could not get anything going whatsoever. And so Indiana is an amazingly well-coached football team that can win in all three phases, week in and week out.
Does Mendoza win the Heisman, Chad?
I would have to think so. I mean, obviously, there was a lot hinging on the outcome of this game against Ohio State and which quarterback found a way to play the best. So Mendoza, I think, has probably sealed it up considering where Indiana is ranked, what a big part he's been to it. Some of his earlier games where he's 19 of 20 and 20 of 23 and amazing completion percentages like that, it seems like the trophy should be his.
All right. What chance do you get IU as far as the playoff is concerned to move forward and maybe try to win it all?
I think they've got enough weapons to really get this done. When you got Cooper and Surratt on the outside, Charlie Becker doesn't have great numbers, but he seems to step up in big games when most needed. He was huge against Ohio State. Again, they play good defense, which if they're forced to, win a close game, a possession game, a time of possession game, I can think they can do that and lean on their defense. If it's a shootout, there's enough weaponry on offense. And then when it comes down to coaching, which coach is going to make the key move at the right time? I got a lot of trust in Kirk Yates. So I give them probably the number one chance to end the season as number one and win the CFP.
It's incredible right there. Chad Brown, the former NFLer, works with the Seahawks, does Compass Media Networks too, as he was in town last weekend. And awesome to us, our good friend from Arizona on the Andy Moore Automotive Group hotline. We shall keep in touch and see what happens coming up on Sunday. And hopefully Phillip Rivers, when he does play, because he will, stays somewhat upright. Hopefully.
Yes, that would be
nice.
Would be the hope. And
come out of that game okay.
I would love it. I would love the story to keep going. So hopefully that works out.
Chad, thank you very much as always, man. The past 2 weeks has been awesome. Thank you.
All right, no problem.
Chad Brown on the Andy Moore Automotive Group hotline. So he set records for the most made threes by an IU player, 10. Most points in a game at Assembly Hall by a single player, 44. James, you got to rack what Lamar Wilkerson had as a meal before that game. Classic Quick break, we'll come back. Kevin Bowen, top of the hour. Phillip Rivers, first appearance out at West 56th Street a little bit earlier. To that and Boomer Esiason, his thoughts on the 44-year-old under center for the Colts moving forward. And starting in Seattle coming up on Sunday. Boomer joins us coming up at the 5 o'clock hour. Kevin, top of the hour. Stream the app, HD Radio, AAA Membership Lounge via YouTube Live at 93.5 and 107.5 The Fan.
Nah, this is bowling. There are rules.
93.5 and 107.5. The Fan.
Lamar, what did you eat today? Because I need to know, because I got to go eat that later on tonight.
I had a breakfast burrito from the gas station, man.
That was Steve Smith of the Big Ten Network asking Lamar Wilkerson. Actually, I think it was on Fox last night, but Big Ten Network had that for you. Lamar Wilkerson in his record-setting night for threes and points inside Assembly Hall, 16 of 22 from the floor, 10 of 15 from distance, 44 points, had a gas station burrito. You know, back when I did stuff like that, I was big on gas station food. And you can tell that gas stations now recognize this because we don't have just the convenience stores anymore. You've got the Uber convenience stores now. The high-quality convenience stores. What's the place they called? Buc-ee's? There's another one around town here, at least called Leo's, which is high level. Wawa is high level. I go back in the day. Who's with me on this? I go back in the day to Starvin' Marvin's. Anybody know what Starvin' Marvin's is? That's a gas station burrito, friends. Starvin' Marvin's is what they call Speedway now.
Oh, really?
Starvin' Marvin's. And I'm sure you haven't heard about that in forever. That's why I'm here. Win Schuler Spreadability. I'm also here to make sure you snack at the highest of levels. In fact, elite levels. Original. Sharp cheddar, bacon, and cheddar jalapeno pepper. Have you guys tried it yet? Somebody has asked me, seriously, Win Schuler's cheese on vegetables? Because I'm a crazy man. Follow my lead. Let me tell you this, too. If you follow me, let's say, for example, if I Pied Piper you, if I'm the Pied Piper and you follow, there's only going to be glory. There's only going to be fun. We're going to have a blast. So why not spreadable cheese? Win Schuler's Spreadability. Find it. Gordon's Food Service, Neiman's Harvest Market in Carmel, and your favorite throughout the state of Indiana, Meyer location. Boomer Esiason, a little over an hour away. You will want to hear what he has to say about the Colts and Phillip Rivers. Kevin Bowen's got the on target because he was there a little bit earlier. First practice back in the Colts uniform for Phillip Rivers. Kev joins us next.
Your ass is whipped by a bunch of damn nerds.
93.5 and 107.5. The Fan.
This is Chicago from the 1970s, everybody. Shout out to you, Peter Cetera. Hit that note. Woo! Hey, I don't know about this. I'm ready to get the hell out of here. Seriously, I'm ready to go. Final day in this studio, and I think everybody else is going to be in the new studio coming up tomorrow, except I'm going to be at the Mousetrap on Keystone, and then I'm going to be at the Pot in Greenfield. The Depot, I cannot wait. Bud Light Blue Friday at the Depot in Greenfield, and tomorrow Larceny Bourbon Locks, Luna Azul Tequila Shots. The legendary Mousetrap. And then I'll be in the new studios coming up on Sunday with the Colts pregame huddle. What time does that start? Like 1:30? Something like that? I believe so. 1:30, Colts pregame huddle. Me, Bill Brooks, Casey Valier. Coming up with the team on the road in Seattle. JMV, this is from the text line, 317-239-1070 from Dave in Beach Grove. I'm not sure the crowd in the living room is your demographic. Hey, Dave, let me tell you this. This is from experience. This is not patting myself on the back, tooting my own horn or anything like that. But every crowd is my demographic. I fit in anywhere, anytime. Now, I will say this. The only time it may be a square peg in a round hole is if I'm around a bunch of horses' asses, and then I won't fit in there. If you're a jackass, or let's just say, for example, you're in a room full of jackasses, I'm not going to fit in. That's it. And you guys all know the types of folks I'm talking about. But if you're in a room, a place, a destination, a location where you want to have a good time, damn straight I'm going to fit in. It'll be our new place, about a mile north of where I sit right now, and where I sit right now for a final time in the building on the Circle downtown. And he's already done his final time. He's from the Fan Morning Show. He, along with Jeff Rickard and James Boyd, Kevin Bowens on the Andy Moore Automotive Group hotline. How did it feel being a last-timer in this building today, buddy?
Boy, I'm not going to lie. I just kind of assumed that we'd be back in there tomorrow. So I don't know if I got
I'm sorry. Let me get that out. Go ahead. Continue. I had to laugh. That's good.
Yeah, I will miss it. I am a big fan of working downtown. I'm a big fan of how fortunate we are, I think, to call life on the Circle home. And even though our view has changed from
no, this building stinks. I'm ready to go.
Over the Circle, I'm going to miss it. I'm going to miss the downtown parking, honestly. I'm going to miss the Buca di Beppo aroma as you exit the garage.
I will miss the park. Hey, I will miss the centralized parking. There's no doubt about that. But, you know, the other stuff, I'm good to go. And I'm going to tell you what, you're going to absolutely love. I don't know if you've been in the building yet for a little tour, but you're going to love what that thing looks like and what they're going to do to it. Promise.
Yeah, I went in there last week. Yeah, it is super nice. I mean, it's definitely nicer than what we've got right now. So, yeah, that aspect is cool. And I do think, you know, it's spacious in the studio. So, you know, we got four of us in there in the morning.
Yeah.
It seems like at times we're all breathing on each other. So you get Dyked in alone in his own little room, pressing buttons and doing his thing. I pray for that room. But, yeah, me, Jeff, and James will have some nice spacious leg room, if you will. So, yeah, I'm looking forward to it. And
you know, and
we'll have a lot of fun up there.
Yeah, Kev, I also, they were kind enough, I don't know if you noticed this, the middle seat in our new studio, they installed a banana seat like the Huffy that Jeff Rickard normally rides. So he'll feel right at home there now, finally.
I'll tell you what, I did walk into the new studio up there and thought to myself, man, Jeff could fit his speed bike, his endurance bike, all his bikes in here with how much room is up there. So, yeah, 7 a.m. tomorrow, I guess. I hope there's a lot of engineers in there ready to help us.
Speaking of endurance bike, and this is not a shot because I'm very interested in Sunday, but it is clear to me that maybe Phillip Rivers has not been on one here recently. Is that true?
I think.
Is that fair to say? Is it fair to say?
I think the dad bod is serving Uncle Phil quite well. A few weeks back, I decided to consume a large amount of Donato's pizza one night and thought to myself, man, I might not move from this couch for about 3 hours. And not going to lie, when I saw Uncle Phil today, that was the first thought that went through my head. So I believe he's a little north of his playing weight since he last put on a uniform. But as Phillip Rivers accurately said today, in only the way he can say it, it ain't like I ever ran away from anybody anyways. So there you go.
Yeah, I just, as much as I really want to love this, and I know you do too, because we want the interest, and believe me, you and I both, we would like to see some really fun stuff happen with this group, because clearly with that start, you feel like they deserve more as they're circling the drain or now down the drain right now. But I can't get past how badly this is going to end because we have, I think, such evidence of the past about, these types of circumstances, how badly it normally does end.
Yeah, I mean, there's zero precedent whatsoever of the of anything of this magnitude, and it already was spiraling outside of the playoff picture, and you had other injuries, not just Daniel Jones related, but that game obviously wasn't trending towards a win when Jones even got hurt. So yeah, it's just it feels a bit inevitable, maybe entertaining over the final 4 weeks, and watching Phillip Rivers try to attempt something unprecedented. I mean, there is an element of, like, if you just lived in a vacuum, John, really, there are a lot of scenarios out there where the Colts make the playoffs with just 2 more wins. And, when you say that 2 out of 4 games being a win, that's not that ludicrous of a thought. But, of course, you look at the schedule, you look at the quarterback situation, that's where it becomes, really, really daunting. And, I know Shane Steichen and Phillip Rivers, they, Phil definitely expressed, questions, and I think he gets it. But I also think these are 2 just football-obsessive individuals that really believe that they can chess match their way into, we'll find advantages pre-snap, we'll get into the right play, and as soon as I know it's a bad play, I'll dirt it. I'll, go in the fetal position. But there's part of me that's like, man, that sounds good. And have you seen Seattle's defense play? They haven't allowed a touchdown the last 2 weeks.
Yeah, it's just a really bad, I think, everything around this seems to be bad. And especially I think it's magnified considering the way the Colts have been playing. And let's go all the way back to the Pittsburgh game. It kind of seemed like that the Steelers gave everybody a bit of a peek behind the curtain. And for the most part, since that point in time, this thing has not been the same.
No. Again, it was trending, I think, in this direction. Obviously, you look at the run game. You've lost 4 of 5. Literally every loss, you haven't been able to run it with Taylor. So that's been a correlation. And then I think lately you're starting to see more and more, red flags from a defensive standpoint, and, the inability to win one-on-one pass rush opportunities, more big plays, all of that I think is added up for you. So, again, you've lost 4 of 5. You're 8th right now in the playoff picture. That game on Monday night was huge in terms of a blow to your playoff chances. I mean, you need the Chargers to lose, weirdly enough. So the Phillip Rivers connection spun in the different direction with how that is right now. So, I there is part of me that I don't necessarily look at this in the Jeff Saturday light, because I think when you're down 3 quarterbacks, there's a level of desperation. Like, basically, we're debating, would you rather see Phillip Rivers play Sunday or Brett Rippon? And if Brett Rippon's last name was Bowen, people would say, Rippon, obviously, people know that last name, but, like, there's little hope when you turn to your 4th quarterback.
Or Heineke or Ritter or somebody like that would give us – and really I felt the same way about Sam Ehlinger, because Sam Ehlinger I think would get similar if not worse results. So I would at least would rather be entertained, if that's fair to say.
Yeah, I mean, there is part of me that, like, the Riley Leonard thing is curious to me. If you look at it, and I don't know if the Colts have sent out their injury report yet or not, but Riley Leonard practiced today, he said that he would not have limitations. So part of me is like, well, in 99 out of 100 instances, if your starting quarterback practices on a Wednesday, that dude is playing in the game. So I have come around to like Leonard might not be as hurt, I think, as we thought earlier in the week. I just think Shane Steichen is caught up in the Phillip Rivers aura. Maybe isn't the best statement to use, but I think he sees a team right now. It's lost 4 or 5. They need juice, and he feels like Phillip Rivers will give juice at least until the ball's kicked off on Sunday.
I just don't know what juice you think you're going to get unless he actually plays. And I don't know why Phillip Rivers would jack with it unless he has assurances that he's going to play. That's the only stuff that makes sense to me.
Yeah, I mean, I think it'll be Phillip Rivers starting, I guess, to clarify. But I also assumed that Riley Leonard wasn't practicing today. I was surprised to hear that he was practicing. I figured there was a health component that was playing into this a little bit more with Leonard. But, again, based off what he said today, he had no limitations. I don't know if he'll be listed as full or not. But, it's that aspect to it, I think just kind of adds to they are all in on the Phillip Rivers is going to be the starting quarterback on Sunday. And every sign that I have seen here over the last few days points to that.
Tri-host from the Fan Morning Show, along with Jeff Rickard and James Boyd. I guess I should say quadruple host, Mark Dykton, too. Kevin Bowen's on the Andy Moore Automotive Group hotline. Their show weekday mornings, Monday through Friday, 7 until 10 a.m. on 93.5 and 107.5 The Fan. I refuse to believe that people say all the time, well, this is just Ballard and Steichen trying to save their gig. I honestly, and I said this before, I think that mid-season trade deadline deal kind of saved their gig. I did. I mean, I thought, all right, if Carly, Ursay, Gordon, and ownership, if they were worried about this moving forward, there is zero way you part with 2 first-rounders in the fashion in which they did for Sauce Gardner, even if you're in the moment, living in the euphoria of greatness, which that's exactly how that was team playing, getting off to a 7-1 start. So I don't think this is a result of a general manager and a head coach trying to bring somebody in, crossing their fingers in hope they can remain at the helm. Do you?
Yeah, I thought the trade sent the message that everybody would be back.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I thought. Now, as you get away from the trade and as you assess the situation and as this plays out in the manner that it is, like if I told you at the start of the year, John, the Colts will have a playoff collapse or I guess an in-season collapse to miss the playoffs like the NFL hasn't seen for over a decade, you would have thought, well, there's no chance that everyone is back for 2026. And right now, that's where it's going. I mean, it is going in the direction of the biggest in-season collapse to miss the playoffs that we've seen in the NFL for over a decade. So, there is that aspect of, like, the further we get removed from the trade and just the general, euphoria, if you will, of the 7-1 start, will any of that start to be the most recent feeling? Because, probably all human beings, we react most to how we're feeling in those recent, times in the NFL. It seems like eons ago that this team was 7-1 and going to play Pittsburgh. And again, you could say that really, I mean, they were out of the playoffs when Daniel Jones got hurt. It's not like you can just say at the end of the year, hey, if this team missed the playoffs, it's not like you can say,
but
hey,
they could say he was compromised, though.
Well, sure, but, again, part of that is life in the NFL. I mean, Houston Texans might be a playoff team with, Davis Mills, having started and won 3 games. So I don't know if I completely will go for that excuse. So it would be quite something if
I don't think we have to go for it at all, buddy. I think they'll use it. I just don't think we have to go for it. And I'm sure most of us won't. Yeah.
Yeah, it'll be quite something, though, if this plays out and goes in the direction that is currently going, and you've missed the playoffs, and, for you to survive the biggest collapse again, an NFL team has had in season in over 10 years, like that gets added to the resume. Like, I think the thought was at the start of the year for, Ballard and Steichen to be back. Well, that means you had to have had something positive to the resume, i.e. a division title finally being over, i.e., whatever, a playoff appearance, a playoff win. And really the only thing positive is really good first 2 months of the season. You ended the week 1 curse, and that's about it.
I just think there are so many things you can get into that makes the likability. I mean, really, the success rate of what you'd even look at for the next couple of years kind of looks like you and I and like the old school Jay Arthur's hot bod contest on a Thursday night. You know what I mean? It's just, you just kind of look at it as, and I hate to say it this way because it's been a long time coming, and there are so many different turns this could have taken where Chris is no longer here or Shane is no longer here, or we're not going through all these quarterback situations as what we've gone through. So many different avenues that could have been taken or things that could have happened. I just don't think this is going to be one of those massive changes that we ultimately see. I guess my mind could change if this thing turns into an absolute disaster, but hell, I think that's what we're standing in right now.
Yeah, I mean, I will sit here and say I have no idea how Carly Gordon is going to react, just because I know Carly a little. I've never.
There's no evidence of it, too. I mean, you had evidence of Jim. You don't have evidence here. Yeah.
There's just no past precedent with her. But again, her signs in season would point to this continuing. And, I'm a little torn on if Carly sits in her office at the end of the year and she debates this of, hey, part of the reason I'm going to run it back is because I think it's a disservice to the new regime to give them, rebuilding papers without 2 first-round picks. Like, I mean, is that smart? Is that not smart? Does that all of a sudden indirectly become, oh, that's good news for, Ballard and Steichen? Again, are they grouped together? Would they opt for the one, kind of weird, rare occurrence where you say bye to the GM, but let the new GM evaluate the head coach outside of San Francisco? With John Lynch and Kyle Shanahan, those seem to never really work, so probably not. All these questions that, we probably didn't need to debate in recent months, they're now, back on. And it really started to transpire once Daniel Jones went down on Sunday.
Yeah, by the way, in preparing for Sunday, too, Sauce Gardner, no participation, the calf, Braden Smith, neck and concussion. As Kev mentioned, Riley Leonard was back in full today. DeForest Buckner limited that first practice in a month, as you referenced to, and we'll see about his possible return on Sunday. And Charvarius Ward goes on IR, and it got to make you wonder whether or not we're ever going to see, or the NFL will ever see the likes of him again, considering his circumstances. And a couple of things also makes you wonder, Chris Ballard's always been set against really diving deeply into free agency. And clearly with Ward, that hasn't paid off this season. That trade deadline deal, which he hasn't done a lot of, if anything of, significantly speaking, that has been a hamstringer for the future. So it's weird how I wanted every bit of it. I mean, I welcomed all that in, but it has really dissembled any sort of progress you can possibly see with this group moving forward.
Yeah, I mean, I do think Cam Bynum has been an unquestioned hit, and that is something that this team needed to find stability at safety, and so major credit to Chris Ballard for that. Obviously, the Ward situation, I don't think you can really be too critical of it. I mean, I don't know if some really want to nitpick and say, well, whatever, he's dealt with a lot and he was getting older in age. I don't know. I think that's super hindsight 2020 and a bit unfair. But as far as Ward is concerned, I mean, I can't recall, John, and maybe Austin Collie would fit into this boat, but I can't recall the last time the Colts have had a player in concussion protocol 3 times in 3 months. So, yes, I think, unfortunately, the future question of him putting on an NFL uniform again is there. And, unfortunately, I do think at times those sorts of decisions for pro athletes, particularly NFL players, where they're at in their careers matter in regards to some of that. And if you look at Ward, he's 29 years old, and he's signed 2 big-time contracts in the NFL. that might be different if you're the 23-year-old undrafted free agent who, whatever, didn't come from much and needs to turn this professional career into a lot. So, again, those are probably conversations for later in the year, but just awful news on that. And, if you want to speak to Sunday, you're facing the best receiver in football without, Mooney Ward, obviously, and it looks like Sauce Gardner will miss the second week.
It's Kevin Bowen, Andy Moore, Automotive Group Hotline. So Daniel Jones looking ahead. I said this earlier this week. I felt that all three would be back, but clearly he's not going to get the amount of money that we once thought he was going to get. However, if you're the Colts, do you even mess with it at all? And I'm not even talking about how long it's going to take him to get back, but he does have a scroll of injury history here that maybe in this case – this may be it in terms of what the Colts might be thinking with Daniel Jones. Where are you with this?
Yeah, I think that's the one aspect to all of this, that you go back to that trade for Sauce Gardner, and when you made that move, you indirectly told all of us we have unbelievable belief in Daniel Jones. And at that point, and I get there were time constraints on it because the trade deadline was coming up, obviously, but at that point, Daniel Jones had played 2 months of good football. And if you look at his career, he's really never made it to Thanksgiving of a season, either playing good football to the point where he didn't get benched or was healthy enough. Now this year, that lasted a week after Thanksgiving, 2 weeks after Thanksgiving. So that to me is the one element of the trade that, even when it occurred, it was like, oh boy, you're really going off of a small Daniel Jones sample size to make that move. And I get it. In 2 months, when the offseason got here, maybe the Jets wouldn't have said that trade was possible for you. So I understand that, not everything can happen on your watch. But Daniel Jones is just the only thing consistent about his career to this point has probably been injuries. And, unfortunately, he had some at Duke as well. So, I do think you can't ignore that. I think it would certainly impact, contract negotiations, all of those things. So, yeah, I do think that's a real part of the conversation, or at least should be.
Well, unfortunately, you and I were talking about this yesterday. Stephen Daly is out of the college football playoff with that injury sustained, I guess, after the game on Saturday. The effect in closing here that has on IU and what was a terrific defensive effort and a terrific defense the entire year, and your thoughts on the Hoosiers presently and moving forward into the Rose Bowl coming up on New Year's Day.
Well, let's start with their defense. I said it Monday. I know Mendoza's probably going to win the Heisman. I think their defense is the most impressive aspect of their team, and in particular, it's probably that D-line group. And Daly has been really the leader of the group. I don't think that Kamara has had as good of a year as he had last year. So, in trying to replace him, maybe Kamara's been a little banged up. Does the 3 weeks off help him? They do have a lot of bodies, and there are a lot of good players, whether it's Tucker or Wheeler, even some of the guys that they sub in. I know they lost Kellen Wyatt for the year, but there's a lot of defensive linemen that they do have, and I think Pat Kuntz has done an outstanding job, with that group. But still, it is a definite loss. And this is kind of part of now what I think gets tested in the new era of college football, and what tests you as a program of, can you withstand the 17 game grind of it? Like when Notre Dame got the national title last year, I think they were down 7 starters and 2 All-Americans. That's a lot to get all the way to the national title, but that's part of it now, with having to play, 3-4 extra games against really good teams where you're not resting guys in the fourth quarter. Obviously the Daly thing was just a horrific freak accident, and honestly one of the worst injuries I've ever seen when you consider how it happened there. So their defense has been great all year, and again, their D-line room is probably the one room that has a lot of depth to withstand it, but still, I don't want to undermine how great he's been.
Kev, tomorrow morning, you guys are going to be in the new building, the new studio. How you feeling?
Cannot wait. As long as everything's working and good, and I'm going to miss the downtown parking. I'm going to miss just being in a little bit of the hustle and the bustle of it all, but I will say that that studio looks modern, looks 2025, and I'm looking forward to it.
I went in there earlier and logged on every computer in the studio and downloaded porn for you guys tomorrow.
Well, I have a feeling, like I said earlier to you, Mark Dykton's solo in his own little studio is going to be dangerous for the internet browsers. So
Yeah. He can bring his his kids again, and they can unplug a bunch of stuff. That'd be cool.
I forgot about that.
Hey, by the way, too, I know you along with me and James as well. Spencer Thompson Furniture in Columbus made us all Yeti thermoses, and I picked out what I felt was your favorite team. I got you, Notre Dame. I got Dykton, the Bears, James Boyd, Illinois, and Banana Sneed. I got him, the Broncos. So I think everybody's happy.
Thrilled.
Great.
Texted Spencer earlier, thanked him for
That's
that.
awesome. Thank you.
I told you on air. I mean, that's one of my favorite gifts. I've got a beautiful little water jug that I usually drink. Has pictures of my kids on, and they might have to take the back seat after I see this Notre Dame Yeti. So thank you to Spencer for that.
That's awesome, buddy. I'm glad you like it very much, and we'll see you in the new studios.
John, we'll see you tomorrow.
Kevin Bowen, Fan Morning Show. He, Jeff Richter, James Boyd, weekday morning, 7 until 10 a.m. Shout out to Nathaniel Finch right there, who knows all my passwords, all my numbers, all my life. James is over there as well. Quick break, we'll come back. Your calls at 239-1070. A little snappy. Some calls here, thoughts on Rivers. First back with the Colts earlier today at practice. After that press conference, we'll talk with you about that as well. 317-239-1070. That is the text line. And Boomer Esiason coming up at the top of the hour. Sit tight. 93.5, 107.5 The Fan.
With JMV.
I am the cream, the cream of the crop. And there is no one that does it better.
93.5 and 107.5. The Fan.
James over there, I'm John. We celebrate our last day in this studio as we move a mile north on Meridian to the St. Joseph Studios. I'll hit that coming up on Sunday. In fact, I'm on the road tomorrow and Friday, so my first time in there is coming up on Sunday. Thank you for indulging us with a little bit of 15 years for me being here. It's been absolutely awesome, but I am good to go to move on for sure. Now, for the Smiley Bros that are asking to be able to tailgate in and around the area, hey, it's all right with me. Got the living room lounge right next door. Hell, we can all go in that parking lot and do a little tailgating, I think, if we want. True story. JMV, I'm legit concerned for Rivers, his health and well-being. This isn't the 44-year-old guy getting off the couch to play pickleball and ending up with a pulled hamstring. This man is going to get hit, and I mean hit hard. Michael, I have a legitimate concern right there with you. Unfortunately, I don't know, because he is a grown man making a grown man's decision here at 44. I kind of weigh the option that I have. I have concern, but I have interest that may be even higher. And I know the interest really doesn't have a lot to do with winning or losing either. I understand that. You know, the interest, I think, falls in the category of this from Matty Matt. The Phillip Rivers thing looks like a clown show. What do they know that we don't? They know and like him and trust him, and they like him better than any of the available dudes that are out there. Matty Matt, that is my lone explanation. I'm going to tell you this. If he goes out there and performs well or performs enough to keep them in it, it is going to be one of the greatest stories ever told. No hyperbole here, only the truth. One of the greatest stories ever told. It will be, not so much at the level of IU and the Renaissance under Curt Cignetti, the Walter Camp Award winner back-to-back years for Coach of the Year, which is amazing. Shout out to the head coach of IU, Curt Cignetti. But it's going to be right there in legend in terms of the NFL. But, yeah, I mean, I would tend to agree. Outside of the entertainment value, I'm with you. Anthony's at 239-1070. Anthony, start this hour off the right way, brother. What do you got?
Well, Clown Show was exactly what came to mind. So it's just funny that you mentioned that right before you put me on. How's this any different than what Pops did with Saturday? I thought this was a gym thing, like throwing the dart.
Yeah. No, it is. It is. It is equal. It is equal.
It's look, we could all be wrong. Phil could go out there and he could complete, half of his passes. He's not going to score any points. How is he going to avoid any kind of? Have you seen? I'm not. This is rhetorical, obviously, but that Seattle defense is nasty.
Yeah, they haven't allowed a touchdown in 2 weeks now, and they get after the quarterback heavily. Yeah, it's going to get. It has the potential to get ugly. Yeah.
I guess, look, man, we're all fans. We all thought at 7-1 that this was something special. And, brother, the curse of cutting Peyton Manning, that's the only thing I can blame this on. It's all I fall back to. We thought Luck was the dude. And, yeah, look at us now. Thank you, brother. I love you, man. Enjoy the new studio. And one last thing. You would love, as a downtown veteran, you're going to love the living room lounge, and you fit right in.
I'll tell you what.
I don't know what night of the week they do it. They do karaoke, and I've been quite a few times in my younger years, and it was a good time, man.
Hey, Anthony, have you ever heard me do my rendition of The Devil Went Down to Georgia for karaoke?
No, but I will definitely meet you at the lounge for that.
It's
and
great.
I'll be buying the drink.
I'll do that. I'll do it for you. Thanks, Anthony.
I
cannot wait. I am the late Charlie Daniels is legendary, but man, my rendition is outstanding. And I'll use SOB instead of SOG. Once upon a time, I had Charlie Daniels on this show at IMS, and he was always embarrassed about using SOB instead of SOG. True story. See, we've got a lot of name calling going on here, and I'm chief among them at 317-239-1070. This texter says Matty Matt is a clown. Matty Matt, you're a clown, according to this person. And somebody ripped me, and I called that person a dumbass, so I'm right there, too. I'm a name call. Got a lot of name calling going on. You guys want to do that inside our text line, 317-239-1070? There's a lot of name calling. I can get into I hold my own in terms of name calling. Yeah, Michigan fired the head coach, huh? Speaking of Michigan head coaches, I'm not talking about Dusty May, but speaking of Michigan head coaches, Dusty May, what a start to the season. Has anybody else noticed in college basketball, or is this just me? Has anybody else noticed? It almost seems like every game is a blowout. And even when you get top 20 matchups, it seems like it's a blowout. Is that just me? Has anybody else been privy to more than a handful of close games so far in this college basketball season? It seems like every single game that I watch is a blowout. And not just like a 10-point, but like a massive blowout. I cannot be the only one that has noticed that. Am I? True? Got a lot of name calling going on in here. 239-1070. John is next. John, welcome to the show. Thank you for the call.
John, first, let me start by saying I miss doing the scoreboard with you at the PAC.
Oh, yes. That was way back in the day right there. The Pacers Athletic Center. You know that
And you were always ethical, except on the fouls. Now, come on, be honest.
Oh, I spread the fouls around.
It was a lot of fun.
But I was honest. I was honest about it. I think my daughter ended up one game with like 9 fouls. Yeah.
Number 8 killed us with the mid-range jumper several games on the Carmel Pups.
Number 8 was out there still eligible with 9 fouls too. That was awesome.
Oh yeah. Hey, I don't blame you, but you probably won't remember me, but it was a lot of fun.
No, I do actually. It's funny. I remember, especially when you explain it that way. I have a really good memory with folks.
Yeah.
And like I said, for me to think that somebody is a horse's ass, you have to be a true horse's ass, because I can get along with anybody, man. So I absolutely remember you.
You were a good dude, loved the show, and I'm always very positive, but can I have permission to rant for a few seconds?
I think you should, yes.
Okay, so typical story, season ticket holder for 15, 16 years. I loved Peyton Manning. I loved Andrew Luck. I was happy for Luck when he retired. Good for him. Go live your life. I supported Carson Wentz. I supported Matt Ryan. I was good with Rivers. I rooted for Anthony Richardson. I was on board with Daniel Jones. Is this the best we can do as a 44-year-old man who hasn't played football for 5 years?
Yeah.
I am actually upset with the Colts for the first time in my life. We deserve better. I don't care who he's buddies with. There are probably 50 27-year-old able-bodied quarterbacks that would make more sense. This is a clown move. Couldn't agree more.
Do you think this is going to be an absolute disaster on Sunday?
I absolutely will always root for the Colts, but yes, it's not that he's 44, John. He hasn't played football in 5 years.
Yeah.
He's got to play against the Seahawks. What are we doing?
So do you think we see him on Sunday like I think we see him on Sunday, or do you think it's Riley Leonard?
I absolutely think we see him on Sunday. And you know what? I do fear for his health, like your previous caller said. I mean, this is really a ridiculous situation. And again, I am a huge, huge homer, But I got a big problem with this, and we deserve better. We really do. I mean, come on.
John, outstanding. It's great to hear from you again, too, man. Don't be a stranger, okay?
You give my best to number 8. Tell her to keep. She's one of the only kids that can hit the mid-range in Indiana. I'm telling you.
She's a good girl. Thank you, John. I appreciate you.
You take care, friend.
You got it. Duke and Michigan State evidently was close. Is that the only game you can find that was close? You look across the college basketball landscape, there's not jack squat that's been close. I'm paying attention. JMV, in regards to blowouts, I don't think I've seen this many blowouts since the deadlift day after White Castle lunch in 1993. That's gross but appropriate. JMV, get him a Whataburger and curly fries. Sweet. JMV, watching Rivers presser, it looks like he's been enjoying corn dogs. I'd say he's 30 pounds heftier in the middle and the face. He might need that extra cushion. Yeah, and he was asked that today because everybody else noticed that, and it was something that I think you can tell. And could definitely be problematic. All right, quickly, we'll come back. Hey, the thoughts of Boomer Esiason, CBS, The Fan in New York. I don't know if you've noticed this or not. So Peyton's Places, they have a new episode, and he and Boomer Esiason, I don't know if you've seen it. It's great. In a dispensary in New York. Outstanding stuff. Boomer Esiason, top of the hour. Your calls and more on the other side. If you're on hold, stick tight. 93.5, 107.5, The Fan.
What for?
He's got a knife.
That's not a knife. That's a knife.
93.5 and 107.5. The Fan.
Supertramp, well done. JMV, we have to face the fact the Colts season has been the biggest meltdown in history. Shane should be gone. He's an offensive coordinator, maybe even just above average at that. He's not a leader of dudes, can't fake that. Carly should set the tone and send him packing. You sending everybody packing or just the head coach if all this ends as badly as directionally the way that it's going right now? JMV, we need a tavern tour in Kokomo from C. Fitch. I will say this, Calvin. There is now a lot of momentum to lead us out of the market. We've gone to Columbus and Bloomington. They want us in Lafayette. I think that can be done. JMV, did you say that you eat veggies with Windschuler's cheese? Indeed, carrots. I'm new to carrots. I've discovered carrots. Brandon writes this, long shot, but what if Rivers takes this team to the Super Bowl? Could you imagine what would happen? Again, super long shot. It would be, seriously, the greatest story in NFL history ever told. It would have zero rival. The greatest story ever told. I would think it'd be a great story if he's able to win a game or two under center. $239-1070 is that number, and it's Dwight who is up next. Hello, Dwight.
Hello, JMV. How you doing?
Dwight, I'm fantastic. I'm missing a holiday party, evidently.
Well,
I think our company's partying for the holiday season without us. Is that a good sign? I don't think that's a good sign.
It's a good sign. It's a good sign that people feel like the party goes on. No one missed out the show, right?
How can they have a party without me? That's weird. Go ahead, Dwight. I'm sorry to interrupt.
Hey, man. Yeah, I think it's kind of a bad idea to bring Phillip Rivers back. He was looking creaky and slow when we had him the first time. But you know, this is not the first time the Colts had brought somebody off the couch. I seem to remember before, or maybe just after Andrew Luck, we got somebody off the couch that played one game and got hurt. I don't recall the guy's name, but I know the history is out there. You know, I would have been happy if they had said Tim Tebow or somebody like that. Is a little younger. You know, everybody wasn't a Tim Tebow fan. I'm not necessarily one either. But I could have saw Tim Tebow well before I would have saw.
So, hey Dwight, if I were to tell you it was Taylor Heineke or Desmond Ridder, he was in camp, if you remember, back in the summer, would that make you feel better about the situation than Rivers?
I would say yeah, because maybe you got somebody that's got some legs that maybe, even though if nothing else you could run for your life, you might run for a first down or two. I don't see.
Yeah, maybe it's just me. I don't know if I need this kind of circus mentality of a show, but I'm like more interested in how this is going to look, even if I think we all agree that it's destined for failure, than I would be with any of the aforementioned names, especially the two that I brought up. I just, that would give me no juice and really, like, I have a significant reason, I'd have to for this show anyway, but really pay attention. Right, Dwight, on Sunday now? Right. Because what this old man's going to roll out there off the couch, what can he do? And we all think we know where it's going, but at least it provides interest, whereas everywhere else, I don't find any interest in some of the names we brought up.
I think if nothing else, it's going to increase viewership because people are going to be interested in what's going to happen.
Yeah.
You know, either it'll be the greatest show on earth or we'll be the laughing stock of the league because we went and we went shopping.
Well, it wouldn't be the first time
in the old men's store. You know, so hey, keep up the good work.
Thanks, brother.
I've been to the Mousetrap before. I like their great fried mushrooms.
Yes.
And so I might just walk up and shake a hand and say, "This is
Well,
Dwight."
you should.
Times.
Dwight's, there's ample sampling going on, too, so you probably will have a little bit more than the fried mushrooms you so enjoy at the Mousetrap tomorrow. So just let me know when you get in there.
Okay.
Got it.
Hey, thanks for taking my call. Take it easy. Keep up the
No
work.
wine anytime. Thank you very much. If you're on hold, I'll get to you. Coming up on the other side, Boomer Esiason is going to join us to Phillip Rivers, Daniel Jones, IU football, a variety of things from the CBS network analyst and from the fan in New York, the former NFL quarterback, Boomer Esiason. Your calls, 5 o'clock hour, wide open at 239-1070 on this Wednesday with 93.5 and 107.5 The Fan.
JMV.
You get nothing. You lose. Good day, sir.
93.5 and 107.5. The Fan.
So, Sharon Moore, as we mentioned earlier, was fired as the Michigan head football coach today. So, terminated, get this, according to Adam Schefter, with cause, effective immediately, following a university investigation. Credible evidence was found that Coach Moore engaged in an inappropriate relationship with a staff member. Uh-oh. A clear violation of university policy. Inappropriate relationship with a staff member. Sharon Moore fired as football coach at Michigan with cause. More on that story, I'm sure. 317-239-1070. That is the text line number. JMV, you haven't discovered carrots. You've discovered an acceptable way to eat your cheese dip without being judged. I'll tell you what else I do with my carrots a lot. I have in the past, because I was doing chickpeas a lot early on in the entire weight loss process. Is anybody else on board with me with their profound love of hummus? I'm a lover of hummus.
Hummus is decent. I can get in for some hummus.
Who's down with hummus?
Now, what, do you eat it with vegetables? Because I like it with the pita bread or that sort of stuff, and you don't really eat bread anymore.
Let me go ahead. I don't know. This may gross everybody out. You guys ready to be grossed out? I know get Boomer on the horn here, and I won't have him hear this, but I'll get turkey and slice turkey off and get it by the slice and swipe it through a bowl of hummus with no bread, no keto wrap, no nothing.
That's not at all what I was expecting, but I can't say I'm that shocked.
And I don't know what it's called. There is there's an olive kind of hummus that's out there that I dig a great deal.
You like olives?
And I like olives and I like spicy hummus. But I swipe it right through there. About that.
See, that doesn't gross me out that much because I've seen you eat cottage cheese and tuna.
Gross.
So
yeah, you've seen that. I dig hummus. Thank you very much for that too. Yeah, I just didn't know about carrots until 2 months ago. Hummus 3 months ago. Cottage cheese a year and a half ago. It's been really an amazing transformation. Yeah, I know. See, Fitch, we'll try to get up to Kokomo. You guys find a spot for us for a tavern tour, and we'll get to Kokomo. Promise you that. Meantime, on the Andy Moore Automotive Group hotline, there is a ton to talk about right here, whether it's Phillip Rivers or Daniel Jones or the Colts or IU football. And our friend from New York, he's the former quarterback. He's with CBS Sports Network and The Fan in New York. Boomer Esiason joins us now. Hey, Boomer, thank you for the time. How are you?
Johnny, thanks for having me on. I'm doing well, and certainly had a lot of fun with Peyton shooting that this past summer. And Peyton's quite the comedian and so easy to work off of for sure.
Yeah, I say he is reinventing roles before that Dick Butkus and Bubba Smith and those long before him, I think, kind of installed, but he's taking it to a different level here.
Well, the thing I appreciate about Peyton is that he loves ball and he loves the NFL. And he has the ability financially, personality-wise, and the understanding of how to put something like Omaha Productions together. And he and his brother Eli deserve a lot of credit for that because they're making more money now than they ever did when they played, and rightfully so. I mean, and just spending a couple hours with Peyton, because that's all it took for us to shoot that, shows me that he understands exactly how things need to get done quickly, decisively. They have a great script writer. They have great ideas. And it always goes back to the history of the NFL. And that's what I love so much about Peyton and what he's doing with Peyton's Place.
And you can check that out, the latest edition of Peyton's Place. As Boomer Esiason joins us. So last time you were on, we talked about the Renaissance campaign of Daniel Jones, which since we last spoke has ended. And now it's just kind of the last 8 or so years of the Colts in a nutshell here. Everything kind of goes haywire and wild. And you have Phillip Rivers that I think is likely going to start coming up on Sunday. So let's start here. What would all this entail for a quarterback having to come back and then start a football game after not playing for the past 5 years, no matter what level we're talking about here, Boomer?
Well, let's first start with Daniel Jones. When we last talked about Daniel and he was playing well, I told you one of the things that was the problem here in New York is that he couldn't make it through a season. He kept getting hurt. And every time he got hurt, the team would fall apart. You know, the team loved him. They respected him. They appreciated his leadership, the way he went about his business. But it was a neck injury. It was a knee injury. I mean, these were serious injuries. And it meant so much to him this year that he went out there with a broken fibula to try to play through it. Maybe he puts pressure on his left Achilles, and next thing you know, that snaps. So, prayers out to him for sure. We are sick to our stomach for him. We were hoping for the best. We thought, this could be a $150 million contract coming his way, given the way that he had started the first 8 games. So, I feel sick for the young man. He's a great young guy, and hopefully he'll be able to restart his career in another year or so.
Yeah.
Now, that being said, you're Phillip Rivers. You haven't played football in 1,800 days. Think about that. The last game that he played was back on January 9th, 2021, and it was versus the Bills. You guys remember that game? That was a 4th and goal, if I remember, and I think the Colts won for it, and Phillip overthrew, I forget whoever threw in the back of the end zone, and that was Frank Reich was his coach.
Yeah.
And, unfortunately for Chris Ballard, the Colts organization, their fans out there, this is nothing new for them. I mean, you guys have been through this for the last 8 or 9 years, ever since Andrew Luck decided to retire, that, you think you finally got the guy, and then all of a sudden the guy gets hurt, and now you have to turn back the clocks. And I don't know what kind of condition Phillip's in. I'm assuming that he took very good care of himself, that he probably looked reasonable on the practice field. But if he has to start a game, I have to be realistic here. His chances for any sort of success, it's less than 50-50, I think. And hopefully they'll lean on Jonathan Taylor, which I'm sure they will, and do a lot of play action passing and not put Phillip back there in the shotgun and protecting him with 5 guys. That would be insane to me. So Shane Steichen's going to have to go into his bag of tricks if, in fact, Phillip ends up being the starter for them.
I do think, and I don't know how you feel about this, do you think he comes back if he doesn't believe that he's going to be installed immediately? Do you think he even jacks with this whatsoever if there's not that belief there? We don't know him. We're not inside that brain, but what could he be thinking surrounding this comeback? Because there's a lot of ramifications from it.
Yeah. Look, there's ego involved and everything else, and he probably loves being wanted. I thought maybe they'd call Matt Ryan, but he weighs about $120. Watching him on CBS now, it looks like he couldn't play football because he'd probably get cut in half. But and I know the Colts actually tried him that last year with Frank. So I don't know. This is just a weird kind of deal. It's a desperation move. There is no other choice other than maybe Brett Rippon. Maybe they start him. If they feel like Phillip's not ready. They're playing against the Seahawks, who are one of the best teams in the league, and they're playing in Seattle with a defense that gets after the quarterback. They have a lot of sacks. If Phillip does play in this game, whether he's starting it or ends up finishing it, if he does finish it, I don't know. You're asking an awful lot, and I think he's really taking just an incredible risk if he steps on that football field.
Did it shock you? The moves, and did you
No,
not at all?
It didn't shock me because there's desperation and there's desperation, and I think given the fact that the Colts have had a really good year up until their last 3 games, I can understand why Chris Ballard and the Colts would go down this road. They're going to try to save their season, and it's nothing but a desperation move. I don't know how else you would describe it. And I'm not saying they're doing the right thing or the wrong thing. I'm just saying they're maybe doing the only thing that they think gives them, a half of a chance to win some of these games. And when you look at their schedule, their strength of schedule here coming down the end of the season is one of the toughest, if not the toughest in the league. And you look at their last 3 games that they've lost, All you have to do is look at the giveaways, the sacks in the past 5 games, and that tells you all you need to know about this offense that seems to have fallen apart for some reason and lost their way. And I think a lot of that obviously has to do with the injury of Daniel Jones, not just the Achilles, but the fibula injury that leads to him losing one of the most important aspects of his game, and that's the ability to move and run with the football.
That is Boomer Esiason of The Fan in New York, CBS Sports Network, and more. You're catching him on the Andy Moore Automotive Group hotline. You were having a conversation, I think, on your show about what it would take to return like 5 years after I think you were out of the NFL or whatever, or you hadn't thrown a football, and what it entails. And I know that was kind of a funny conversation, but at the same time it was ringing so true. There's one thing to talk about it, or to throw to nobody, or to throw to the equipment guy when you're all out there alone on your field. But it's another thing to go against the defense that hasn't allowed to score in like the last 2 games and really comes hard after the quarterback. It is absolutely shocking to think for me that Rivers will be out there on Sunday. But then again, I have to understand this is the Colts, and really there's nothing that would shock me decision-wise about their path any longer. So I actually expected Boom.
Well, the other thing, too, and I don't know if they would be thinking this way, they may just say throw Brett Rippon out there. I don't know, maybe get Phillip in the game somewhere along the line. I don't know. I can't put my own brain in Shane Steichen's head and what he and Chris Ballard are talking about. Seattle's only given up 9 points, as you were pointing out, in the last 2 games. And that's the fewest in a 2-game span since 2014. That's how good their defense has been playing. And I always say this, you can look at strength of schedule, but what does that strength of schedule look like when that team arrives to the stadium? So in the case of the Colts, they have a very good record. So you say, okay, well, that would make them a tough out. That would be a big problem. But the Colts come in now losing 3 in a row and losing their starting quarterback and may have to rely on a 44-year-old quarterback. So where does that really actually put that strength of schedule situation in play here? It doesn't. I think this is when you want to exactly catch the Colts, and this is the Seahawks benefit from this. So, and on the other side, everybody's healthy, and Jackson Smith and Jigba showed back up again last week. Sam Darnold has played great for this team. I wonder if, I think in the back of my mind, maybe we kind of give up this. You're not thinking give up the game, especially if you're a player putting the uniform on, but maybe internally they're saying, we're probably going to lose this game. Let's see if we can make a final push those last 3 games when we're playing teams within our division. But man, I mean, this is such an impossible situation for the Colts, and I understand desperate times require desperate measures. And I would say I'm rooting for Phillip. I want him to do well, but to expect anything spectacular out of him is truly unrealistic.
Does this, from the outside looking in for you, appear to be a general manager and a head coach that may be trying to save what possibly could be the end for them as everything is falling apart? Is this part of the desperation move that you view from both coach and general manager here in Indy?
No, I don't. I think it's a really unfortunate set of circumstances. And, Chris Ballard, look, he was part of firing one of my best friends in the whole world, Frank Reich. I hold no ill will against that at all with him. I know he's a really good general manager. I know that he's built up a really good roster over the years. Frank always got the support that he needed from Chris until, Mr. Irsay decided, enough's enough. And, it always comes back to the same thing. Who's the quarterback? And when you look at the top 12 or 14 teams and you look at their healthy quarterbacks that are productive, those are the ones that are always going to go to the playoffs. And unfortunately for the Colts, it's been the same thing now ever since Andrew Luck retired. So I don't think Shane Steichen or Chris Ballard would be in jeopardy. I really don't think that. And I don't know if, the new owner out there is standing on the sideline. She gets it. I think she understands what has happened here. I mean, she seems like a very, intuitive person, seems like somebody that's really gotten into the game of football. And she sees the desperation and the stress that are on the faces, I'm sure, of her GM and her head coach. So, I mean, it's a really unfortunate set of circumstances. I don't think they change. I just think that they have to find themselves who they believe can be their next quarterback. And obviously next year it's not going to be Daniel Jones because he's not going to be ready.
So Boomer Esiason with us. I thought a tail of the tape happened at the NFL trade deadline. And I think if you believe, regardless of the circumstances here since Boom and whatever you think about Sauce Gardner, who is now out with an injury, but I think when you say, okay, you can trade these 2 first-rounders of the future and bring in this guy because you want to win in the now, and we've seen things dynamically change, really a 180 from that point in time and now. But I think when you do that to me, you almost tell everybody that these are my guys for the future. I mean, maybe things can change, but I don't know how much they will considering what was allowed by Carly Gordon back during the NFL trade deadline. That's kind of how I view it in short-sighted thinking, I guess, in this case.
Well, I think they were going for it, and I think they felt like they needed one thing, and that was going to be a shutdown corner. Now, from the other side, the Jets side, which we cover obviously every day here, and the Jets are a mega disaster once again, just like they have been for the last 10 years. And as their season winds down, they fall apart, and we're getting kind of used to it. We actually thought that the general manager, Darren Muji, did a great job at the trade deadline, trading both Sauce Gardner to the Colts, and then, of course, Quinnen Williams to the Dallas Cowboys, and acquiring the assets they need to rebuild this franchise and to try to get their own franchise quarterback. So we felt like the Jets did the 100% right thing. And again, it's just really unfortunate that a very talented player ends up, straining a calf. And I don't know if your listeners feel this way out there, but I've said this 1,000 times here in New York. When their calf is involved, the next thing that goes is the Achilles. And that's why you have to be really, really, really careful with an Achilles or a calf injury. And, you saw that with Tyrese Halliburton. We saw it, last year with the Boston Celtics. We've seen it, so many times Aaron Rodgers. I mean, any sort of calf injury can easily lead to a popped Achilles. And that's the last thing that you would want to have happen to Sauce Gardner. So again, 3 injuries too, by the way. DeForest Buckner, that's another huge injury. So those are things that I'm sure Mrs. Irsay Gordon is basically has to take into account when it comes to, whether or not she's going to blow out the whole front office and the coaching staff. I just don't see that happening. I don't think that would be a prudent move.
I'm going to double back to Daniel Jones. I happen to think that Daniel Jones will re-sign here, and clearly not for the amount of money that he would have re-signed for here, but I think that he re-signs here. I think they like him enough, and I think next year – I think they're going to wait. I think really all 3 quarterbacks that have been in the fold, that includes, in this case, Riley Leonard, who's also dinged up, and Anthony Richardson. I think all 3 of these dudes are going to be back coming up next year. That's at least what, because you look at the free agency and the lack of assets, I don't know really what choice, unless they do blow it up, the Colts are going to have with that in mind.
Yeah, well, the only thing that I would say in regards to Daniel Jones, it's the same thing. It's, what's he going to hurt next or 2 years from now? Because I doubt he'll play next year. I mean, I know that Deshaun Watson had the same injury around the same time last year, and he is just getting onto the practice field now, and they're not going to put him out on the field in these last 4 games. Regardless. So I think that Daniel would be in the same spot. Maybe he does sign a contract with the Colts. Maybe he takes a year off and doesn't sign and then re-signs back with the Colts. I don't know. I don't know what that situation's going to encounter, because whatever they give him, they're going to have to absorb on the salary cap. And that's a whole nother set of circumstances that you got to take into account. But my thing with Daniel Jones would be, I can't give you a long-term, big money, guaranteed contract. I just can't, because your history is such that you have serious injuries that forces you to lose an inordinate amount of games, and usually the team collapses around you when that happens. And that's been his moniker, unfortunately, in his entire career, except the 1 year that they went to the playoffs and they beat the Minnesota Vikings.
It's Boomer Esiason with us. Before I let you go, I got to get your thoughts on the 1 seed in the college playoff. As a Maryland man, I'm sure you've recognized the futility over the years of IU football. Can you believe what you've witnessed under Kurt Cignetti in the last 2, and then what you have witnessed this last weekend, beating Ohio State and being the number 1 overall seed of the college football playoff? What do you think about these Hoosiers?
So I think they're great. They went into Maryland, and Mendoza and company just absolutely steamrolled our team, and I think our team's going to be steamrolled for the next 5 years. So I can just I'm getting used to it. But I will say what Kurt has done out there has been remarkable. The fact that he was able to get Mendoza to come there and then have Fernando play the way that he has played, it's been terrific. It wasn't pretty against Ohio State, but those games sometimes are the best games. They're tight, they're defensive oriented, they're looking for somebody to make a mistake or somebody to make a misplay, and then all of a sudden you have your upset. What will be interesting for Indiana will be, okay, let's be ready for our first game once we get through the bye, and then I think we all think that they're going to be a team that's going to see Ohio State again, and can they beat them twice within 6 weeks? That would be the real cream on the top. So I love Fernando Mendoza. I think he's a great player. I think he's going to make a really good professional quarterback. I think he's smart, he's big, he's strong, can make every throw, he's athletic. And, the thing that I like about him most, just his whole attitude about life and the way that he carries himself, his personal story with his mom dealing with multiple sclerosis and how their bond has basically given him strength. So I appreciate all of that. So I'm rooting for Indiana, believe it.
Yeah, you think he wins the Heisman?
Yeah, I don't see why. I mean, I know there'll be some other, there's guys, from Vanderbilt, Pavia, I guess is getting some late push here, because he played in the SEC. But I don't know. I feel like Fernando Mendoza played almost a perfect year. He almost had like a perfect season. I know the numbers aren't what some past Heisman Trophy winning quarterbacks have had, but I mean, all he did was lead his team to an 11-0 season. I know they got a good defense. That's part of it. It's a team game. But Fernando is the unquestioned leader of that team, and I thought he had a really, really clean year and did nothing but enhance his pro stock ability. So I think he's going to win it.
You can find him at 7, Boomer Esiason on X. He's at the Fan in New York. You can catch him on CBS Sports Network and in the latest edition of Peyton's Places. You can check that out, too. It's Boomer Esiason on the Andy Moore Automotive Group hotline. Boomer, man, it is outstanding. We will catch up again soon, but I had to get your thoughts on Phillip Rivers coming up on Sunday. That is going to be watched. It'll be interesting if he gets out there and plays, if nothing else.
Well, if you run by Phillip at any point, just let him know that Boomer's saying his prayers for him.
You got it, Boom. I appreciate it, Boomer.
Okay, thanks, guys.
So, Boomer Esiason on the Andy Moore Automotive Group hotline. We shall pass that along to Phillip Rivers from Boomer Esiason. Quick break. We shall return. Roadshow's coming up tomorrow. The Mousetrap. We're going to be on Keystone. Me, Brent Halverson, Larceny Bourbon Locks, Luna Azul Tequila Shots, Week 15. Friday, the Depot in Greenfield. That's a Bud Light Blue Friday with Colts tickets we'll give away in one of our better spots. We love the Depot in Greenfield. We'll be there coming up on Friday. All right, stream the app, HD Radio, AAA Membership Lounge via YouTube Live. You know the weather on the inbound. Hey, become a AAA member today, or at least as a stocking stuffing gift. Give the gift of support on the open road and discounts for entertainment that you're going to find with my friend Matt Goins and AAA. AAA.com or your nearest AAA dealer. Do that today. More to come at 239-1070, 317-239-1070. That is the text line on 93.5 and 107.5 The Fan.
Yes, of course. The holy hand grenade of Antioch.
Right.
1, 2, 5. Lisa, 3.
93.5 and 107.5. The Fan.
This is Night Ranger and Goodbye from the 1980s. Well done on the re-entry. Greg writes this, has anybody seen the video of Phillip Rivers on Thanksgiving trying to race the young guys, then he falls on his face because he's old? Oh, I'm sorry, that wasn't Phil. You're just making, in general, the old guy racing his kids on Thanksgiving that falls on his face because he's too old. I'm sorry, I misread that. Yeah. A lot of those particular thoughts on Phillip Rivers, who met with the media for the first time today since his reemergence here in Indy with the Colts, and then went through practice for the first time today. Charvarius Ward, concussion protocol on IR, third time this season. That is incredibly bad news. Sauce Gardner did not participate. Meantime, you saw DeForest Buckner back in a limited role. We will follow that as the Colts practice again tomorrow. I wanted to give a shout-out. Hopefully I get to this on a later date, but a book that was sent to me, I just got this in the mail, by Eric Bond of Indianapolis. It's called But This is Indiana. But This is Indiana. It is a book by Eric Bond. The following is a collection of basketball memories from my life in Indiana, famously known as the heart of basketball country. After the 2025 NBA Finals, I decided to put it into writing. It covers many tiers of competition, but is heavily centered on the Indiana Pacers. Thank you, Eric Bond. I shall check that out. But This is Indiana. And I'm glad you got that to me, too, because otherwise I don't know if it ever probably would receive it. Final day to get here. 317-239-1070, the text line. Did anybody come up with a correct pronunciation of that cognac I was trying to pronounce in the Big Red Liquor spot there? D''USSO? Was that how we spelled it? It's one of my favorite things to do. Try to pronounce that stuff.
DUSSE, I think is how it was.
Is that what it is?
Yeah.
Yeah. I know that I foobarred it, but it's a great cognac and a great deal of Big Red Liquors, especially this time of year. When's the last time you had a cognac?
I don't know.
That's how I pronounce it, a cognac.
I'm not sure. I can't really recall if I've ever had.
It's a fine cognac.
Apparently, it is pronounced Dusay.
Dusay. Thank you.
Hyphen SAY.
Dusay. That's how you pronounce it. JMV, I hope you know the old move. Oh, wait a minute. Don't move the river return because it is where the Colts are. Oh, yeah. I got you. Is that the up the river without a paddle type of reference right there? Hey, I hope he plays well. I don't know if anybody is counting on him playing well. Our guy Jeff Jones from Heaven Hill Distillery says Doucet is how that's pronounced. Doucet. He would know of Heaven Hill Distillery. 239-1070 is the number. Thank you, Jeff. Who was next here? AJ's been on hold the longest. Hello, AJ. How are you, sir?
Hey, JMV. I hope you're doing well. I wanted to say, first of all, before I went into my screed about this, my mother worked for MS Communications for 20-plus years.
Really?
So it's kind of emotional for me to hear about you guys moving out of that.
Yeah, I understand. And I was thinking about the great times. In 15 years, one of the greatest moments when we used to be up on 6 and actually faced and had a window and faced Monument Circle.
Yep.
Summertime at the Sheridan Pool on the Circle downtown was not bad. Me and my binoculars. You know me, right? So that was not bad back. Actually, Tony Donahue's binoculars. But yes, it was a good time. But no, I can understand for you how that would be emotional, AJ. I do.
My mom worked for Indianapolis Monthly for many, many years. I knew Jeff Smoyan, and I used to go to the holiday party that was there in the Big Giant lobby. So, yeah. And I know this doesn't mean anything to your viewers. I just wanted to.
No, that's understand. No, that's cool. I'm glad you share with us, AJ. Go ahead.
Well, I spoke to you several times over the summer, and I was very pessimistic about the Colts. And obviously, when they went on their great run, I was like, "Well, hey, this is cool. Like, I'm feeling good about this." But let's wait until November, because real football starts in November, and
you're proving right.
You've had a couple of calls. You have a couple of callers that come on here, and I hear this again and again about the Peyton Manning curse and all this other stuff, and I understand the reaction to that. But let me say this. The curse is Chris Ballard. That's your curse. And the curse ain't going away until the source of it goes away.
Yeah. I think that's a good argument. Everyone, and I think it's not even a curse. It's just lack of positive execution. And now he's been all over the board with his own process and then moving away to another process. And none of the processes have worked out.
I wanted to ask you this before I went. Remember, it was like, gosh, when was it? It was a year. Sorry, my years are blending together because all Chris Ballard years just end in disaster and they just blend together. But it was a year or two ago, and you were interviewing him, and he was sitting there with his arms crossed like he always is, very defensive. And you were mentioning about the problems with the secondary.
Yeah.
And the line that he said, if I recall it correctly, was, I have to let these young guys play so I can figure out if they're good.
Yeah.
I believe that was the line that he said.
That was.
And this year with Lou Anarumo, they replaced and burned down. How many guys are left in that secondary? 3 or 4 from last year?
Yeah.
Not very many. And that is damning on Chris Ballard. And let me just say this. You won't watch this game on Sunday. There's going to be a guy on the Seattle Seahawks roster named Weatherspoon. He's an all-pro corner. He was drafted the 5th overall pick right before Anthony Richardson, who might be the biggest draft bust in Indianapolis Colts history.
Yeah, well, he has gone away. Chris went the free agent route, which I think a lot of us, like me, wanted him to do, and then went trade deadline route, like a lot of us, and went big, wanted him to do, or certainly I wanted him to do, and then it hasn't worked out either. And that's what I was saying, like nothing has worked out. Even with the greatest of intentions, it hasn't worked out. And what has happened now, I mean, we're kind of laughing about what could be, AJ, coming up on Sunday with Phillip Rivers against Seattle on that defense. But what's not funny is the future coming up for the Colts. That part's not funny because you're caught between having a lot of this roster that's ready-made to try to win now and not having the starting source at quarterback to win right now. I mean, it is like the Steelers wheel song stuck in the middle with you. That's where we are, and that's too common a place, I think, for everybody that's been a Colts fan for a while. No matter what has been done, what's tried to have been executed with this group, simply put, it's never ever worked.
I'm sorry that you missed your holiday party tonight, but regardless, have a very happy holiday and a Merry Christmas.
Very kind of you, AJ, to say. Thank you, AJ, for the call. Apparently, Bill says the cognac we're talking about, Doucet, is made by Jay-Z.
Oh, really?
It's pronounced Doucet. Shout out to Jeff Jones for that.
Fancy.
How did I pronounce it? D-U-C? It was not good.
I don't remember what you said, but it was not the correct pronunciation.
Brutal. Boomer Esiason, if you missed that conversation, podcast 1075thefan.com. And Chad Brown, the former NFL linebacker, about the Seahawks, and also Phillip Rivers a little bit earlier. 239-1070. Kevin is up next. Hello, Kevin.
Hello?
Kevin, go ahead, sir.
Hey, how you guys doing? I just wanted to be on Phillip Rivers' side. I think it's cool that he's coming back, and I wish him the best of luck, and if he can do it, I think he can do it. I don't care how old he is. You got Aaron Rodgers out there doing it. You got Flacco out there doing it, and he makes a couple games and meet Aaron Rodgers in the playoffs. That's all he needs to do.
That's all
he'll
that
be
needs to be done. Kevin, we got a balanced show now. Somebody that's actually believing in it a little bit right here.
I truly believe in him, and I wish him the best of luck, and I hope he pulls it out.
Thank you, Kevin. I appreciate that. I just hope he's like able to walk and stuff afterwards. JMV Giacomo Pizza has hummus pizza. Well done, Giacomo. I've not had pizza in like a year and a half. Hummus pizza sounds inviting. I think they have a breakfast pizza too at Giacomo. It's rather famous.
I don't think I could go a year and a half without eating at least a slice of pizza.
Yeah. Sharon Moore, who is now the out head coach of Michigan, fired with cause.
Mm-hmm.
So everybody's saying that he actually knocked up the staffer.
That's what I'm hearing.
Yeah. It's bad news. Inappropriate relationships. Hien and Sheehan and slipping one past the goalie is not good. That's a bad combination right there.
What a way to lose a gig.
And then what a way to guarantee you're probably not going to get one again anytime soon across the board. Lose everything. It's going to lose everything while you're at it.
Who do you think Michigan even tries to get right now?
Just doubling down. Well, they're going to go big. I mean, honestly, I'm not going to suggest this is what they wanted, but there are not a lot of Michigan fans that are sad that the fact that he's no longer going to be the coach. Mm-hmm. Let's just face it. Maybe Dusty May can coach both the basketball and the football for you guys in Michigan. JMV, I don't trust somebody that doesn't eat pizza. I am trying to look fit here, C. Fitch.
See, but you do look fit now, so you can have a slice.
I can't
you can
either.
Give yourself a slice every now and then.
I got it on the brain. I can't do it. I'm going to stay.
One slice of pizza is not going to make you regain all the weight you lost.
I know. Everybody's trying to get me to, you got to do it. You got to have that one meal and do that and eat again. And, stop cottage cheese for a while. Yeah. Now we're creating. We're going to see what we can create. I can't lie. I mean, it is. I'm double nickel and I'm going to be 56. And that probably is playing a bit of a role right here too. I'm trying to set a course, carve a path out for you guys. Quick break. We'll come back with you guys for a final time. The spreadability of Win Schuler's elite level snacking you can find at your favorite Gordon's Food Service location. I mentioned 2 Meijer locations throughout the state of Indiana. Neiman's Harvest Market in Carmel is an outstanding place too. Hey, did you know we're going to be on the road tomorrow? Did I tell you that? Indeed, the Mousetrap, we're going to be there. Me, Brent Halverson, Heaven Hill Distillery. Hopefully you guys can all get out of work early and join us at the Mousetrap tomorrow. And Greenfield, I think there's a promo that is not right. It says Greenwood. The depot is not in Greenwood. It's in Greenfield. Greenfield. So the promo was inaccurately done and evidently yet to be corrected. So holy hell, let me do it right here. Can we just run a promo? How about if I do a 30-minute, can I do a 30-second promo? Could you put that in right now and just put it in? Can you replace the one that's running?
I could try.
You want to try to do? Maybe we should do that right here. What are they? Are they normal? How long are those promos?
About 30 seconds.
Are they really? All right, you ready?
Go ahead.
Hey, join me, JMV, coming up tomorrow. Larceny Bourbon, check that. Take 2. Hey, join me, JMV, coming up on Friday, Bud Light Blue Friday. We have Colts tickets for you. Niners Colts tickets at the Depot in Greenfield. We were there, twice a year ago. A great time, great food. It is the Depot in Greenfield coming up on Friday. Bud Light Blue Friday, your chance to win Niners Colts tickets and a fantastic Friday in Greenfield. Bud Light Blue Friday. Again, join us there at the Depot in Greenfield with 93.5 and 107.5 The Fan.
David Letterman!
Hi, David. I'm Grandpa.
93.5 and 107.5. The Fan.
New building for our shows coming up tomorrow, about a mile north of where we sit right now on the Circle downtown. Meridian and St. Joe's. Cannot wait to get there. The morning show will start it out. 7 a.m. tomorrow morning. Kevin Bowen joined us a little bit earlier. Podcast 1075thefan.com. That's along with Kevin, James Boyd, and Jeff Rickard, and then Query and Company. Now, I'm not going to start tomorrow nor Friday because we'll be on the road. Tomorrow at the Mousetrap, where Joseph writes this: last time I was at the Mousetrap, the Y Store was playing. Do you remember them from the 90s? I remember them because one of my all-time favorite dudes would be one Chris Schaefer at lead of the Y Store. And if you guys want me to sing Lack of Water for you right now, I can. I love me some Chris Schaefer. The Mousetrap tomorrow for us. Me, Brent Halverson. All I need is the water. That sounds just like Chris Schaefer. He's driving off the road and say, hey, stop blanking up my song right now, would you? You jackstick you? JMV, quarterback is like a major league pitcher. They can be out of shape, but still have the goods. I tend to agree. Indiana's news stories are off the chart right now. But this one may be the most intriguing. I'm going to tell you this. One of the greatest stories to ever be told. And Phillip Rivers at 44 goes out and plays on Sunday and plays at a medium to above mediocre level. If he leads them to be competitive, if he leads them with an opportunity to win, the greatest story. I mean, one of those high-level things. Right now it's just like entertainment value. It's either entertainment value for you or you think it's an absolute clown show joke and it's stupid. And before you say, well, they should have had an adequate backup, you never have an adequate backup. Nobody's an adequate backup. You're just blanked if you lose your starting quarterback in the NFL the way that it is. There are very few examples of anybody doing well when you lose your starting quarterback. I'm not worried about that portion of it. I want this to be more, I want it to be entertaining. I don't want it to be a clown show, but knowing the Colts and what we have known in the past handful of years, normally that is the direction in which it goes. JMV, I can't blame Ballard for this season. Poor coaching and injuries have ruined the season. And that said, fire everyone and bring in Jeff Saturday as general manager and Brian Flores as the head coach. Yeah, that's not happening. They've done the Jeff Saturday experience. You know what's funny about that? Had he won a game, in games that they easily could have won, I mean, hell, he still could be the head coach here. True story. Probably not by now, but could have been, and that could have rewritten a lot of history. Chris Ballard would not be here still. There's no way that that was not his choice. He didn't want that. There's no way he would still be here, and maybe there would be a different quarterback. Had Phillip Rivers stayed 2 years instead of just one as they had planned, maybe things were a lot different there too. So many stories that could have been rewritten had things been different. Brian is up next at 239-1070. Hello, Brian.
Hey, how you doing?
Great, Brian. What's up?
My uncle used to own a music store that was before the Mousetrap, and he also owned Capital Boats in Jubilee City. So, I mean, I like that area so much.
I do, too. I love being up there, too.
But I live in rural Morgan County now. I like that a lot better.
Well, I'm down there with you. I'm in somewhat rural Morgan
you're not
County.
Far from me at all.
Are you in Waverly?
No, I'm at the edge of Mooresville.
Edge of Mooresville. That's not too far from me. A little over on 144, and I'll get right to you, Brian.
Across the street, they go to school in Martinsville.
Yeah, well, I think you go down Banter Road from me, and there's like a part where if you're to the southeast, you go to Franklin. If you're to the northeast, you go to Center Grove, and then Martinsville and more. Right in that general vicinity, right there. There's no telling where you're going.
But I am across from Waverly. I can walk to the river from where I live, but it's on the other side, you know.
I know exactly what you're talking about. I think I've got some friends that maybe catch raccoons and possums and take them on your side of the river.
God damn, I got...
That's why you got them in your yard. Brian, that's the way to end it right in here, man. Seriously, that's the only way we can end it. With a big-time cuss word.
Yep.
Thanks, James.
Got to get one more dump in for the
We
road.
got one more dump in here. Nathaniel, good to see you. James, great job out of you. Boomer Esiason, Kevin Bowen, and Chad Brown. The podcast at 1075thefan.com. I want to see you all with me tomorrow. Please, the Mousetrap, me, Brent Holverson, Larceny Bourbon Locks, Luna Azul Tequila Shots. So long, Emmis Building downtown. It's been real. With 93.5 and 107.5 The Fan.